"Security, remove this woman immediately." Rebecca Stone's voice cuts through the marble lobby like a blade. The water bottle tilts. Clear liquid arcs through the air in slow motion. Aaliyah Washington's eyes widen as the cold stream splashes across her face, soaking her silk blouse, dripping from her chin onto expensive leather shoes. "People like you don't belong here," Rebecca sneers, her empty bottle still raised like a weapon. 15 employees stand frozen in the corporate lobby of Carter Tech Solutions. Phone cameras capture every drop. The elegant black woman in business attire says nothing. Just stands there, water streaming down her face, wedding ring catching the afternoon light. Rebecca smiles triumphantly. She has no idea she just destroyed her career in 10 seconds. Have you ever watched someone make the worst mistake of their life without realizing it? 12 minutes until the CEO meeting ends. 30 minutes earlier, Aaliyah Washington parks her black Tesla in the visitor section of Carter Tech Solutions. The license plate reads, DNA Love, an anniversary gift from her husband 3 years ago. She clutches a handmade lunch container wrapped in elegant silver paper. Inside, David's favorite Korean bulgogi prepared at 5 in the morning before he left for his morning conference calls. Today marks their 5th wedding anniversary, and she wants to surprise him at his office. The marble lobby gleams under afternoon sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. Aaliyah approaches the reception desk, her heels clicking against polished stone. "Excuse me," she says to Sarah, the young receptionist. "I'm here to see David Carter. It's personal." Sarah looks up from her computer screen. "Do you have an appointment, ma'am?" "No, but I'm sorry." Rebecca Stone materializes beside the desk like a storm cloud. The head of human resources stands tall in her charcoal suit, arms crossed, surveying Aaliyah from head to toe. The CEO doesn't meet with unscheduled visitors. Aaliyah smiles politely. "I understand, but this is a special occasion. Could you please—" "Special occasion?" Rebecca's voice drips with skepticism. "What's your business with Mr. Carter?" "It's personal," Aaliyah repeats, adjusting her Hermes Kelly bag. The leather costs more than most people's monthly salary, but Rebecca doesn't seem to notice or care. "Personal." Rebecca rolls her eyes theatrically, ensuring nearby employees can see her performance. "Let me guess. Another woman with personal business trying to get to our wealthy executives." Heat creeps up Aaliyah's neck. She's dealt with this before. Assumptions, stereotypes, the automatic dismissal, but never this blatantly, never this publicly. "I'm his wife," she says quietly. Rebecca laughs, sharp and cutting. "His wife? David Carter's wife?" She gestures dramatically. "Do you see any resemblance here, people?" 3 employees stop to watch, then 5, then 8. Phones appear in hands like flowers blooming in spring. "Women like you," Rebecca continues, her voice rising for her audience, "always have ulterior motives, gold diggers, social climbers, whatever you want to call yourselves." Aaliyah's fingers tighten on her bag strap. Inside her purse, her phone buzzes with a text from David. "Looking forward to lunch. Love you." "Ma'am," Jerome, the security guard, approaches reluctantly. He's worked here 3 years and knows all the executives' families from company picnics. Something about this woman looks familiar, but Rebecca is his supervisor's boss. "Jerome, perfect timing," Rebecca announces. "Please escort this woman out. She's harassing our staff." "I'm not harassing anyone," Aaliyah says, her voice steady despite the humiliation burning in her chest. "I brought my husband lunch for our anniversary." She pulls out her phone, showing the lock screen, a photo of her and David at last year's company Christmas party. his arm wrapped around her waist, both smiling at the camera. Rebecca barely glances at it. Photoshopped nonsense. You people are so desperate these days. The words hit like physical blows. You people. Aaliyah had earned her MBA from Wharton, worked 6 years in corporate consulting before marriage. She speaks 3 languages, holds a black belt in Taekwondo, and volunteers with literacy programs every weekend. But to Rebecca Stone, she's just, you people. Security cameras are recording this, whispers Martha, a longtime administrative assistant. She's worked here 12 years, remembered when David started dating Aaliyah, had seen their engagement photos on his desk. Rebecca whirls around. Recording what? Me protecting our executives from opportunists? More employees gather. The lunch crowd returns from the cafeteria. Interns checking their phones. A cluster of software developers drawn by the commotion. Aaliyah checks her watch. 3:10 p.m. David's board meeting would end in 5 minutes. She'd planned to surprise him when he came downstairs for their scheduled lunch. Look, she says, pulling out her car keys. The Tesla key fob catches the light, engraved with DNA Forever in elegant script. I can call him right now. Don't you dare disturb Mr. Carter with your games, Rebecca snaps. She turns to Jerome. I said, remove her now. Jerome shifts uncomfortably. Company policy requires him to follow HR directives. But something feels wrong here. Very wrong. Ma'am, he says gently to Aaliyah. Maybe you could schedule an appointment. She's not scheduling anything, Rebecca interrupts. This is what happens when people don't know their place. The phrase hangs in the air like smoke. Several employees exchange glances. 2 junior developers start recording on their phones. Aaliyah's wedding ring, a custom design David had created just for her, catches the light as she steadies herself against the reception desk. The same ring David wears on his left hand, visible in every company photo, every board meeting, every press conference. But Rebecca Stone had never paid attention to details like that. 8 minutes until the anniversary surprise. I'm calling security, Rebecca announces, though Jerome stands right beside her. Real security, not just building security. She means police. Aaliyah feels the walls closing in. 15 people are watching. Cameras recording. Her anniversary surprise crumbles into public humiliation. Please, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. Just call David. Tell him Aaliyah is here. Rebecca smiles coldly, reaches into the small refrigerator behind the reception desk where staff keep their drinks, pulls out a water bottle. No, she says, unscrewing the cap. You're leaving now. 5 minutes until the CEO meeting ends. The water hits Aaliyah's face with shocking coldness. 16 ounces of liquid humiliation streaming down her cheeks, soaking her silk blouse, pooling at her feet on the marble floor. Silence. 15 employees stand frozen in the lobby. Phone cameras capture every droplet. The only sound is water dripping onto leather, steady as a metronome, counting down to disaster. Rebecca Stone smiles, still holding the empty bottle like a trophy. That, she announces to her captive audience, is how we handle trespassers at Carter Tech Solutions. Aaliyah stands motionless, water streaming from her chin. Her carefully applied makeup runs in dark rivulets. The handmade lunch container slips from her wet fingers, clattering against marble with a sound that makes everyone wince. Oh my God, whispers Sarah at reception. Did you really just... I did what needed to be done. Rebecca cuts her off. She turns to address the growing crowd, her voice amplifying off the glass walls. Let this be a lesson. We protect our executives from people who think they can waltz in here making demands. Jerome, the security guard, looks physically ill. His face has gone ashen, hands trembling slightly at his sides. "Miss Stone, maybe we should—" "Should what?" Rebecca's voice echoes through the space. "Show weakness? Let every gold digger in the city know they can target our CEO?" More employees emerge from elevators, drawn by the commotion like moths to flame. The afternoon shift change brings fresh witnesses. Someone's phone buzzes with an incoming Instagram Live notification. 827 viewers and climbing rapidly. A junior developer named Kevin holds his phone steady, live streaming the entire scene. The comment section explodes. "Is this real?" "Someone's getting fired." "This is insane." "This woman," Rebecca gestures at Aaliyah like she's evidence in a trial, "claims to be David Carter's wife. Look at her. Does she look like CEO material to you?" Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Some uncomfortable shifting from long-time employees, a few nods from newer hires who don't know better. The division is clear: those who've been here long enough to know the truth, and those who haven't. But Martha, the long-time administrative assistant, steps forward. Her face is pale with horror, hands shaking as she clutches her tablet. "Rebecca, I really think you should know." "Know what?" Rebecca whirls on her like a predator sensing weakness. "That we should cater to every woman with a sob story and fake photos?" Martha's mouth opens, then closes. She'd worked here 12 years, had answered David's phones, scheduled his appointments, ordered flowers for Aaliyah's birthday each year. She knows exactly who stands dripping in their lobby. But Rebecca Stone has power. Martha has a mortgage, college tuition payments for her daughter, health insurance that covers her mother's medications. She steps back into the crowd, eyes downcast with shame. 4 minutes remaining. The live stream viewer count hits 1,200. Comments pour in faster than anyone can read them. "Carter Tech scandal" starts trending on Twitter. Local news blogs are already picking up the story. Aaliyah finally moves. Slowly, gracefully. She wipes water from her eyes with the back of her hand. Her wedding ring catches the light. The same custom design David wears, the one he'd sketched himself during their engagement, the intertwined dragons symbolizing their Korean and African-American heritage. "I'd like to call my husband now," she says quietly, her voice carrying across the silent lobby. "Your husband?" Rebecca laughs, the sound sharp as breaking glass. "This fantasy has gone far enough. Security! I want her removed immediately." She pulls out her own phone, fingers flying across the screen with theatrical efficiency. "I'm documenting this for the police report. Attempted fraud, corporate harassment, criminal trespassing." Click, flash, Rebecca takes photos from multiple angles. Aaliyah's wet face, her expensive Hermes bag, her business attire now clinging and stained. Each flash feels like another assault. "Perfect evidence," Rebecca mutters, reviewing the images on her screen. "Shows exactly what these people try to get away with when they think they can manipulate our executives." The crowd has grown to nearly 25 employees now. Lunch break is ending, but nobody moves toward the elevators. This is better than any streaming drama series. "Should someone call Mr. Carter?" asks James, a junior developer with barely 3 months on the job. He's new enough to still believe in fairness, doesn't understand the unspoken rules about challenging Rebecca Stone's authority. "Absolutely not," Rebecca snaps, rounding on him like a lion. "The CEO has real business to conduct, multi-million-dollar decisions to make. He doesn't need to be bothered by this spectacle." She gestures dismissively at Aaliyah, who stands with quiet dignity despite her humiliation. Water has stopped dripping, but dark stains cover her silk blouse. Her hair, professionally styled that morning for their anniversary surprise, hangs in wet strands around her face. "Ma'am," Jerome approaches carefully, his voice barely above a whisper. Maybe we could just verify. Jerome. Rebecca's voice turns ice cold, cutting through his words like a blade. Are you questioning my authority? My professional judgment? The security guard freezes. He has 3 kids, 2 still in elementary school, a mortgage on a modest house in Queens, health insurance through Carter Tech that covers his wife's diabetes medication. He's seen Rebecca destroy careers before. Subtle sabotage, negative performance reviews that come out of nowhere, mysterious budget cuts that eliminate positions just before Christmas. He looks at Aaliyah, really looks at her for the first time. The expensive bag, the custom jewelry, the way she carries herself even soaked and humiliated. Something familiar about her face, her posture. Then he looks at Rebecca, then at the 25 phones recording everything, then at the floor. No, ma'am, he says quietly, hating himself. Rebecca smiles triumphantly, sensing total victory. Good, then escort this woman to the parking garage. Make sure she understands she's banned from all Carter Tech properties. Wait, Martha finds her voice again, stepping forward with her tablet clutched against her chest. The visitor log shows... Shows what? Rebecca's eyes narrow dangerously, her voice dropping to a threatening whisper. Martha's hands tremble visibly as she turns the screen toward Rebecca. An appointment. A. Washington, 3:15 p.m., CEO personal lunch meeting. It was scheduled 3 days ago. The lobby goes dead quiet. Even the live stream comments seem to pause. Rebecca snatches the tablet, scrolling through the appointment system with increasing desperation. There it is, clear as daylight. A. Washington scheduled for a 3:15 personal meeting with David Carter. The appointment includes internal notes visible only to executive assistants. Anniversary surprise. Mrs. Carter bringing homemade lunch. Block 90 minutes. No interruptions. Mrs. Carter. Fake, Rebecca declares after a long moment, but her voice has lost its commanding edge. Anyone can hack our system and add fake appointments. These people are more sophisticated than you think. But doubt creeps into her tone like poison. The appointment was scheduled 3 days ago. It includes David's dietary restrictions, his preferred conference room, even a note about clearing his afternoon schedule for quality time. Several employees lean in, reading over Martha's shoulder. Whispers start spreading through the crowd like wildfire. That's really his wife. Oh God, oh no. Rebecca's destroyed. This is going to be everywhere. 2 minutes remaining. Rebecca feels control slipping away like sand through her fingers. The crowd's energy has shifted completely. Phone cameras that had been capturing Aaliyah's humiliation now focus on Rebecca herself. The livestream comments turn against her. Lady's about to get fired. CEO's wife. This is crazy. Rebecca messed up bad. Fake appointments, fake photos, fake stories, Rebecca announces desperately, her voice climbing higher with each word. This is exactly what I'm talking about. These people will stop at nothing to manipulate successful men. But her voice lacks its earlier confidence. The appointment log is damning evidence. The internal notes are too specific, too detailed, too integrated into the company's systems to be fabricated. Aaliyah reaches into her purse with steady hands and pulls out her phone. The lock screen shows a photo of her and David at last year's company Christmas party. Not just any photo, but the official company portrait that hangs in the executive conference room upstairs. The one every employee has seen 100 times. I'm calling David now, she says calmly, her thumb hovering over his contact. No. Rebecca lunges forward, trying to grab the phone from Aaliyah's hands. I forbid you to disturb. The elevator dings. Everyone freezes. The soft mechanical sound echoes through the marble lobby like a gunshot. All 25 pairs of eyes turn toward the executive elevator. The one that only accesses the top 3 floors, the one reserved for C-suite executives, and their guests. Rebecca's face goes from red to white in seconds. The polished steel doors are sliding open. Time's up. David Carter steps out of the elevator, adjusting his charcoal suit jacket. At 34, the Korean-American CEO moves with quiet confidence, earned through building Carter Tech from a garage startup to a $2.8 billion company. His custom wedding ring, matching dragons intertwined, catches the lobby's afternoon light. He expects to find his wife waiting by reception for their anniversary lunch. Instead, he finds 25 employees clustered around something, phones held high like torches in the darkness. "What's going on here?" His voice carries natural authority, cutting through whispers and electronic beeping. The crowd parts like the Red Sea. David sees her immediately. Aaliyah stands in the center, water dripping from her hair onto marble floors. Her silk blouse clings wetly to her skin. Mascara streaks her cheeks in dark rivers. The handmade lunch container lies forgotten at her feet, silver wrapping paper torn and soggy. Time stops. "Aaliyah!" His voice cracks with confusion. "Baby, what happened? Why are you—" He rushes toward her, corporate composure shattering. His hands find her face, thumbs gently wiping away water and smeared makeup. The gesture is instinctive, protective, unmistakably that of a devoted husband. "Who did this to you?" His voice drops to a dangerous whisper that carries across the entire lobby. The space holds its collective breath. 25 phones continue recording, but silence stretches like a taut wire ready to snap. "I brought you lunch," Aaliyah whispers, her voice steady despite everything. "For our anniversary." She pauses. "She said people like me don't belong here." David's eyes sweep the crowd methodically, cataloging every face, every witness to his wife's humiliation. His gaze lands on Rebecca Stone, and the temperature seems to drop 10 degrees. The HR director stands frozen, her empty water bottle still clutched in white-knuckled fingers. Her face has gone the color of ash, beads of sweat forming on her forehead. David's voice drops to that dangerous quiet that makes seasoned executives tremble in board meetings. "She who?" Rebecca's mouth opens and closes soundlessly. Around her, employees step back instinctively, creating distance as if she carries contagious disease. The circle expands, leaving her isolated in the center of their judgment. Martha, the administrative assistant who had watched in horror for 20 minutes, finds her voice first. "Mr. Carter, I tried to tell her. Ms. Stone threw water at your wife and called security to remove her. She said Mrs. Carter was a gold digger trying to manipulate you." David's jaw tightens visibly. He pulls his monogrammed handkerchief from his jacket pocket, DNA Forever, embroidered in elegant script, and begins gently dabbing water from Aaliyah's face. The gesture is tender, intimate, unmistakably that of a devoted husband caring for his beloved wife. Every person in that lobby, every viewer watching the live stream, can see the genuine love and protective fury in his movements. "How long has this been going on?" he asks softly, his voice carefully controlled but vibrating with barely contained rage. 20 minutes, Aaliyah replies, her dignity intact despite the public humiliation. "I showed them our wedding photo, the appointment in the computer system. I told them repeatedly that I was your wife. She called me a liar, said I was photoshopping pictures to trick you." David's breathing changes, becoming deeper, more measured. Colleagues who've worked with him for years recognize the signs, the slight tension in his shoulders, the careful modulation of his voice, the way his free hand clenches and unclenches. David Carter, angry, is infinitely more dangerous than David Carter shouting. His fury is ice-cold, calculated, and absolutely devastating. He looks up at the crowd, his gaze methodical and deliberate. The phone's recording everything from multiple angles. The Instagram live stream now reaching 4,200 viewers and climbing rapidly. "Rebecca," he says, his voice carrying across the lobby like winter wind. "My office. Now." "Mr. Carter, I can explain." Rebecca's words tumble out desperately, her voice climbing higher with panic. She didn't follow proper protocols. Anyone could claim to be... "I said now." But David pauses, looking down at his wife's stained blouse, her ruined hair, her quiet dignity maintained despite 20 minutes of racist abuse. Something shifts in his expression. "Actually, no," he says, his voice growing stronger. "We'll handle this right here, in front of everyone who witnessed what you did." He helps Aaliyah straighten, his arm encircling her waist protectively. Then he addresses the crowd with full authority. "For those of you who don't know, this is my wife, Aaliyah Washington Carter. We've been married 5 years as of today. This is our wedding anniversary. She has an MBA from Wharton, speaks 3 languages fluently, and volunteers with literacy programs every weekend." His voice gains strength with each word. "She came here today to surprise me with lunch she prepared at 5 a.m. before I left for morning conference calls. She brought homemade bulgogi, my favorite, wrapped in silver paper with a handwritten anniversary card." He gestures to the soggy container on the floor. Instead of being welcomed into the building her husband built, someone threw water in her face, called her a gold digger, and tried to have her arrested. Rebecca finds her voice, desperation making it shrill. "David, I was protecting you. She didn't identify herself properly. Anyone could walk in here claiming to be your wife." "She didn't identify herself?" David's eyebrows rise, his voice carrying dangerous incredulity. "With her appointment clearly listed in our computer system? With wedding photos displayed on my desk upstairs? With her name on the permanent visitor access list that you personally approved last year?" Rebecca's face crumbles as the logical holes in her defense become obvious to everyone present. "You processed her health insurance paperwork as my spouse. You've seen her at company Christmas parties, summer picnics, board dinners." The crowd begins murmuring, pieces clicking into place. Several employees nod recognition. They remember Aaliyah from company events, had seen her photos in David's office. "You didn't recognize her because you never truly saw her," David says, his voice cutting through the murmurs. "You saw a black woman asking for access to power, and you decided she didn't deserve basic human dignity." The truth hangs in the air like smoke. Around them, employees shift uncomfortably, some looking ashamed of their own silence, others angry at what they'd witnessed. Martha steps forward, her tablet clutched against her chest. "Mr. Carter, I have the security footage queued up and the appointment logs." "I don't need footage," David cuts her off, his voice carrying to the live stream audience. "I have 25 witnesses and about 4,000 people watching this unfold in real time." He looks directly into the nearest phone camera, addressing the growing online audience. "This is David Carter, CEO of Carter Tech Solutions. What you've witnessed here today is completely unacceptable. It violates every principle our company claims to represent, and it ends right now." He turns back to Rebecca, who seems to physically shrink with each word. "Rebecca Stone, you are terminated from Carter Tech Solutions, effective immediately." "David, please," Rebecca begs, her career crashing down around her. "It was a misunderstanding. I was just being careful." "Careful?" Aaliyah speaks for the first time since David's arrival. Her voice soft but carrying clearly across the silent lobby. "You were being careful when you called me a gold digger? When you said you people don't belong here? When you threw water in my face?" Rebecca opens her mouth, but no sound comes out. There's no defense for the indefensible. But David isn't finished. His protective fury has transformed into something larger, corporate accountability that would reshape the entire company. "There's something else everyone here should know," he says, his arm tightening around Aaliyah's shoulders. "My wife has been conducting research for the past 6 months, working with workplace equality nonprofits, documenting patterns of discrimination in corporate hiring practices." He pauses, letting the implications sink in, while the live stream audience explodes with speculation. This wasn't a random visit. This was a test. And Carter Tech Solutions just failed spectacularly. Rebecca's legs nearly give out. Around her, employees exchange glances of horror and fascination, suddenly understanding they'd witnessed something much bigger than workplace rudeness. Aaliyah has documentation of systematic discriminatory hiring practices, biased interview processes, and the deliberate exclusion of qualified minority candidates. Today's incident isn't isolated. It's symptomatic of a cancer that's been growing in our company for 2 years. He looks directly at Rebecca, his voice carrying the weight of corporate judgment. "You've been filtering out diversity at the HR screening level, rejecting qualified candidates before they could even reach department managers. Aaliyah has the statistics and legal evidence to prove systematic discrimination." The livestream comments explode with reactions. The story is spreading beyond social media to news blogs, business publications, and legal networks. Aaliyah reaches into her still damp purse and pulls out a waterproof folder. She'd come prepared for this moment. Over the past 18 months, Carter Tech Solutions received 847 qualified applications from Black candidates. Of those applications, 731 were rejected at the initial HR screening level. She opens the folder with steady hands, revealing professionally printed charts and graphs. During that same period, 1,230 white candidates applied for similar positions. Only 312 were rejected at HR screening. The statistical probability of this disparity occurring through random chance is less than 0.003%. The numbers hit the lobby like a physical blow. Several employees gasp audibly. The mathematical proof of systematic racism is undeniable, overwhelming, legally damning. This research was conducted in partnership with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, David adds, his voice carrying the authority of federal backing. "The documentation is legally admissible evidence." Rebecca collapses into the nearest chair, her body finally giving out under the weight of revelation. 22 years in human resources, a 6-figure salary, stock options, all evaporating because she couldn't see past her own prejudices. "Every single person you discriminated against had families to support, bills to pay, dreams to achieve," Aaliyah continues, her voice gaining strength. "The only difference between them and the candidates you approved was the color of their skin." She looks around the lobby, making eye contact with employees who had watched her humiliation. "The difference between me and them is that I have a CEO husband to protect me. But I refuse to let that protection be wasted on just one person when systematic change could help hundreds." David feels a surge of pride for the woman beside him. Brilliant, courageous, transforming personal pain into societal progress. Carter Tech Solutions will implement immediate and comprehensive reforms, he announces to the crowd and the live stream audience. "New hiring protocols with blind resume screening, diverse interview panels for all positions, third-party auditing of our recruitment processes." The crowd murmurs approval, but David isn't finished. "We're also establishing a $10 million fund for workplace discrimination research and legal assistance for victims of employment bias. This isn't just about fixing our company. It's about changing the entire industry." 10 million. The number resonates through the lobby and across social media. This isn't performative gesture. This is serious financial commitment to systematic change. Furthermore, we're creating partnerships with Howard University, Morehouse College, and Spelman College to establish paid internship pipelines. If we've been systematically excluding talent, we're going to systematically seek it out. He checks his watch. 3:47 p.m. 32 minutes since Rebecca had first confronted his wife with racist assumptions. 32 minutes that had transformed a personal anniversary surprise into a corporate revolution. "Ms. Stone," he says, his voice carrying finality. "Security will escort you from the building immediately. Your access cards are deactivated. Your company accounts are frozen." As two security guards approach Rebecca, phones continue recording her walk of shame. The woman who had wielded power like a weapon against the vulnerable is now powerless herself. The live stream has reached 8,500 viewers and climbing. Carter Tech discrimination is trending nationally alongside hashtags for workplace justice and corporate accountability. David Carter has just turned his wife's humiliation into a masterclass in leadership and accountability. And Aaliyah Washington. Carter has just become the face of workplace equity for millions of viewers worldwide. 3 months later, the bronze plaque beside the main entrance gleams in morning sunlight. Carter Tech Solutions, certified best place to work for diversity 2024. Digital screens in the lobby display real-time metrics. Current workforce, 47% women, 34% people of color. Aaliyah stands in her corner office as Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, reviewing quarterly reports. Her $15 million budget has transformed the company from discrimination liability to industry leader. Martha, now Director of Inclusive Recruitment, demonstrates their blind resume screening to DOJ investigators. Names, photos, and demographic identifiers are automatically removed before managers review applications. The results are remarkable. Black candidate advancement increased 340%, Hispanic candidates up 280%. Women in technical roles up 190%. When managers couldn't see demographics, they focused purely on merit, Martha explains. Our new hires consistently outperform previous cohorts. CFO Michael Torres presents stunning financial results. Diverse teams generate 23% more revenue per project. Customer satisfaction improved 31%. Employee retention increased 45%, saving $8.2 million annually. Settlement costs totaled $67 million for 731 discrimination cases, but improved performance generated $94 million in additional revenue. They didn't just recover costs, they exceeded them. Jerome, the security guard caught between conscience and authority, now serves as employee advocate. The anonymous reporting system he manages logged 247 incidents in month 1, all resolved within 72 hours. People aren't afraid anymore, he tells investigators. They know their voices matter. The Carter Standard becomes shorthand for workplace equity. 12 major corporations adopt similar reforms. Harvard Business Review features their model. Congressional hearings lead to new federal guidelines. Aaliyah consults with 47 companies implementing their system. Her research has sparked legislation in 12 states requiring diversity reporting from federal contractors. Rebecca's wrongful termination lawsuit is dismissed. Unable to find HR employment, she enrolls in diversity certification programs. Her public apology becomes required reading in business ethics courses. I let unconscious biases override professional judgment. I caused immeasurable harm to qualified individuals who deserved better. Rebecca now works at a non-profit for $42,000 annually compared to her former $180,000 salary. DOJ agent Sarah Rodriguez concludes her investigation. Carter Tech has exceeded all compliance requirements. The comprehensive reforms demonstrate genuine commitment to change, not merely legal compliance. The federal investigation that could have resulted in massive penalties instead becomes a model for other companies. 1 year later, Aaliyah Washington Carter stands at the podium of the National Civil Rights Conference, addressing 3,000 business leaders. Behind her, a screen displays Carter Tech's transformation metrics. Workplace discrimination isn't just morally wrong, she says, her voice carrying across the silent auditorium. It's economically devastating. Companies lose billions annually by rejecting talent based on bias instead of merit. David watches from the front row, pride evident in his expression. Their marriage survived the public scrutiny, emerging stronger through shared purpose. The live stream that captured Aaliyah's humiliation has been viewed 47 million times across platforms. Comment sections became forums for sharing similar experiences. This happened to me at Microsoft. I was rejected by Goldman Sachs after perfect interviews. Finally, someone with the power to fight back. What would you have done in Aaliyah's situation? She asks the audience. When faced with discrimination, humiliation, and the choice between silence and speaking truth to power, share this story with someone who needs to see that quiet strength can move mountains. Comment below with your own experiences, good or bad, because Black stories, life stories, touching stories like these create the change someone else desperately needs. Subscribe to Black Voices now for more real-life stories of resilience, justice, and transformation. Remember, the most powerful weapon against workplace discrimination isn't anger. It's documentation, strategic action, and the refusal to let bias win. Your story could be next. Your voice could create the change that transforms not just one company, but an entire industry.